All right, today's butter chicken. Don't order it from a takeout. Make this recipe. It's easy enough to make at home and it's one of my favorites. Okay, butter chicken starts with chicken, of course. In a bowl, get yourself some garlic and some ginger, just pureed, real simple. And we're gonna add Kashmiri chili, salt, and a little bit of smoked paprika. And smoked paprika isn't essentially like rigid edge, right, when you're making this, but for me, the smokiness adds a certain something to the chicken while it's marinating. We're going to be cooking it over a hibachi today, so we've got these smoky flavors going. So having the additional little smokiness off the paprika is really good. I just wanted to, like, in Scotland, I mean, I grew up eating curries, you know, like there's a huge Indian community from all regions of India, all over Scotland. But as a result of that, there are some amazing Indian restaurants. And butter chicken was one of those dishes, I think, that I probably was fed fairly young in life, because it's not a super hot, spicy curry. It's fragrant and it's in this sort of like tomato gravy, if you like. And so I'm going to say this is kid friendly, right? Make it for yourself and have a look at it. My 4-year-old will eat it without any problem at all. It's not heavily spiced. If you want to take some of the chili out of it, you can also do that, right? It's easy. So lemon juice has gone into the bowl and we just whisk it up. You can see that nice color. It's already the color of butter chicken before we've even started. Chicken thighs. I've basically got a boneless, skinless chicken thigh and cut it into 4. And I'm adding that in and give it a right good mix so as the lemon juice and the spices begin to seep inside and marinate the chicken. This is a really important step, and it's not something, the marinade on the chicken is in almost like a 2 parts. It's like we're making chicken tikka at the beginning of a butter chicken recipe. So this needs to sit in the marinade for 30 minutes at minimum before we do the next stage. So, because I started ages ago, I've got one that's already ready. I just want to show you the difference as well between the chicken where the marinade's just gone in and what it looks like after half an hour, because it might make you or force you to absolutely do that step and not cut corners, right? See the difference? It looks, the lemon juice has actually started to cook the chicken in a way. But what it means is that acidity is carrying the spices, the ginger and the garlic inside the chicken. That marination process is really important. So don't skip it, all right? Okay, new bowl. Labna. To make your own labna at home, just get some yogurt and hang it like in a coffee filter or a muslin cloth, pair of old tights, whatever. And just hang it in your fridge. All the water will drip out of it. And then you end up with this sort of really luscious, thick yogurt. It's called labna. So we're gonna go into the bowl with the labna. And then we've got turmeric, cumin, coriander seeds, green cardamom, and some more paprika. Straight in. And so this is, just imagine we've given the chicken a little bit of a tickle, right, with the first marinade. And now this is the second marinade, which really drives home more spices, another sort of layer of spices. And this is one of the reasons I love Indian food, is that they layer flavors and they layer spices, and it makes such a difference. It makes for super interesting food. It's something I really, really, really love. So just whisk it up all together to make sure it's well incorporated. Holy mackerel. And then we're going to put it straight on top of our chicken. How good are rubber spatulas? Just quietly. The best. Okay. And now we are gonna coat the chicken in that really thick yogurt marinade. And then we're gonna leave it for a minimum of 1 hour. You can get away with an hour, right? No less. It needs time for the yogurt and the spices to do its job and make that chicken absolutely delicious. So, as I say, minimum of an hour. You could leave it, like, some people leave this overnight. I think it's a little bit too much because the acidity in the yogurt and the lemon juice actually starts to sort of cook the chicken to the point where it has a weird texture. It's not that great. So 1 more lemon into this mix. And as I say, what we essentially have here really is a version of chicken tikka, right? That's how butter chicken starts. Different tikka masala. This is the thing about the world of Indian food and the regions. There's so much to learn, and I think it's one of the great, you know, the great areas in my life as a chef that I've yet to fully explore, to be honest. But this is a recipe, butter chicken. There was a chef de party when I was an apprentice called Jav, and he had this butter chicken recipe and naan breads that he pulled out all the time, and this is like a version of his, to be honest. It's so good, it's so easy to do. So that's it, that's what it looks like. And we're just gonna leave it there now for an hour, and because, as I said, I started earlier today, my darling wife is gonna go and get the stuff that's already pre-marinated, aren't you, lovely? All good. So this has been in the fridge and it's marinated, and we're gonna make skewers. So I want to talk to you a little bit about skewers, because skewers are kind of like, you've got skewers that are thin, and then you've got skewers that are slightly wide like this one. And the ones that are wide, they've got more surface area to hang onto the meat, so they're actually better for doing something like this. So as the chicken's got a chance to stick to it, and when we turn it, it doesn't move and roll around your barbecue. Do you know what I mean? So you try, if you can get some flat skewers, you can get them in Middle Eastern stores, you can get them in a lot of Asian grocers as well. Flat skewers, okay? And we're just gonna thread through the chicken onto the skewers. So just thread them through. You don't need to, this doesn't need to be done exactly a particular way, or the chicken thigh doesn't need to be sitting a particular way. Just try and make sure there aren't too many bits hanging off the edge, that's all. Okay, so we'll just do another one. Now I'm going to use a hibachi to cook the chicken. So I don't have a tandoor oven, I wish I did. What would normally happen is they would get these skewers and they'd grab, like, you know, 10, 12 of them at a time, and then they'd whack them into the tandoor oven, which is effectively a big chimney with a fire at the bottom of it. It's made of ceramic and like the bottom of a pizza oven, same kind of base, but round the sides. And then the skewers just sit and lean against the edge of it, and then they fire at such a high temperature, you get this beautiful caramelization of the yogurt all the way around. And that flavor develops then into the butter chicken sauce. So if ever you've had a butter chicken sauce and it's kind of got a light smokiness about it, usually it's because it's been cooked beautifully in a tandoor oven. So good. So just thread it out and try and get it as evenly as you can, because that's going to help you on the cook in terms of evenness. It's marinated and it's looking super delicious. Now I'm going to put these down with the other ones that I did earlier. All right, so we're going to talk about the sauce now. We're starting again, more ginger, more garlic, and some tomato paste. Now, as I said, this is, if you like, a kind of a, you know, it's a cheeky, quick version. Normally there would be fresh tomatoes, you know, in season, beautifully ripe, and they would be chopped and they'd go in and they'd cook down for a very long time until it was sort of thick like a tomato paste. I'm cheating by using tomato paste at the beginning instead of doing that. So, you know, what can I say? I'm a cheat. I'm a cheat. Turmeric, cumin, coriander, paprika, right? In. And now we want to add roughly 500-600 mils of water. If you kind of, to use a rule of thumb, if you're making this in big batches, you kind of want twice the quantity of what is in the tomato puree in water in order to cook out the sauce. So we've just started it going in the bottom of the pan. All right, into there we need to add about 600 mils of water and a glug of grapeseed oil. Beautiful. And a pinch of salt. Now we're salting to taste here, and the thing about butter chicken is obviously there's a huge amount of marinade on the chicken itself, right? So don't go mental with the amount of salt in your sauce. Just let it cook out and reduce a little bit first before you decide how much more salt to add. Further down the track here, we're also going to add some jaggery sugar. So having the sugar in there sort of dials back some of the tannicness and the acidity in the tomatoes, but at the same time it allows you to actually add a little bit more salt too. All right, let's have a little whiskey. Okay, so a little touch more. So there's about 600 mils in total of water. And once it comes up to a simmer, we're going to stick a lid on it and let it cook out. Now, if it's on a gentle simmer, it shouldn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So make sure that it's not turned up too high. I've got mine on a super low temperature. So just let it lid on and just what we're doing is cooking the spices into the tomato. It's a really important part. It takes about sort of 20 minutes for that to happen. Just let it do its thing. Trust me, it's worth it. In the meantime, we're going to cook our skewers. And what I like to do is I have a hibachi, and I've got a mix of timber, as in wood, redwood, or ironbark you can use as well, like a heavy wood. And then I've got some, what they call bichitan. And the bichitan is like the bichitan. It's like, look at that, essentially it's charcoal, but it's very, very hardwood charcoal, and it burns at a super high temperature. So if you think of inside my fire, and you could do this in a Weber, you could do it in a hibachi, you could do it in a green egg, whatever. Really, layer of wood down the bottom, which gives a kind of smokiness, and then a char grilled flavor, which is what, you know, tikka and butter chicken, that charry flavor really is what it's known for. So I want this to be spanking hot, like too hot, you know. Look, if you want it to taste great, then you need a fire. I think it's as simple as that. If you don't have any wood, of course you can just use charcoal. In fact, charcoal only is what they would use in an Indian restaurant, for example. But for me, I like that bedrock of of timber down the bottom. I think you absolutely need charcoal. So as I said before, you can do it in a Weber, you could do it in a green egg, you could do it in honestly a tray, deep tray, make a fire, put charcoals on it, and then you can set your skewers on top of it. It's pretty easy. Like, I'm all for a ghetto barbecue, trust me. Now, these little guys, I want to start on the hibachi, and I'm not using a grill, you can see, because I want them just to hang as close as I can get them to the coals. So again, other one on. We're just going to let it do its thing now. So I'm just gently turning it around. And this is the great bit. Now's the good time for a beer, isn't it? Would you like one? Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm a man. I'm cooking on a barbecue, technically. Yeah, look at that. That's the colour we're after.
Happy.
Yeah, they look pretty good. So we're just going to keep turning them, but during the process, this is just clarified butter, real easy, and we're just going to give them a little bit of love, not too much, otherwise you'll have a full-scale fire on your hibachi. But just brush it It'll keep it nice and tender. Develop the smokiness of the chicken as well. Yeah, I think you've got to give it love, because really, to be honest with you, the hotter your fire is, the better your chicken's going to be. And you want some like gnarly little burnt bits. If you have a look at this, you know, you got little parts that are really well charred, and that just adds depth of flavor to your butter chicken. So if you can get, you know, if you can get a real fire going with real charcoal, and you can get it screaming hot, that's your best bet. You're going to maximize the flavor of your butter chicken at the end of the day. All right, these guys are off ski. Look at them, how good do they look? Huh? Stop it. Okay, now we can concentrate on the sauce. What are we on here? Let's have a little look. Come and have a look at the consistency of the sauce. It's kind of, it's like a rich gravy kind of consistency. I'm going to add in jaggery, beautiful, and fenugreek leaf powder. So fenugreek leaf has been roasted in a dry pan and then powdered. And you get it, fenugreek leaves, you'll get it from, I'm not affiliated with that brand in any way, but you can get different brands obviously. Any good Indian grocer, they'll have fenugreek as well as fenugreek leaf. And the leaf gives such an amazing flavor to butter chicken, and it's, without it, it's just not the same. It is not the same.
It's the key ingredient, yeah?
I think it's a key, I think it's one of the key ingredients, yeah. I think it's very important. I don't think butter chicken really is butter chicken without it. All right, so you can see when it starts getting violent like that, like violent simmering, we need to turn it down a little bit, cause dangerous. Cream, about 60 mils of double cream, or cooking cream, whatever you call it here in Australia. Look at the change immediately in the color, and then it starts looking like a butter chicken that you'd buy in a restaurant or a takeaway immediately. Now we're going to knock in the butter. And just whisk it in. Oh yeah. So now it's all about balancing and seasoning. And add just a touch more cream. And like all curry sauces, the gravy is always better on the second day, right? So if you're making butter chicken, great thing to do is actually do it in the day in advance, even up to the stage where you've cooked the meat. Get the meat into the sauce and let it sit in there overnight, reheat it the next day. So good. Okay, super easy now. All we got to do is this. Chicken skewer. Straight into our sauce. This is comfort food 101 right here. Oh, that one's a hot skewer. Okay, there's my spoon. Why the volume increased in this, but anyway, the chicken didn't. So there we go. Chicken is now in. We turn the heat off. Let's get a little serving guy. Look at that naan bread too. How good's that look? Stop it. I'm sure I turned that off. Maybe I didn't. And look at the colour that you're getting in the chicken from when it's been on the hibachi is just delicious. That smokiness is now start to incorporate through the gravy of the butter chicken. Turn the lights out. This is grab a bowl of it, grab 3 of those naans, get yourself in front of the telly, watch a good movie, or The Block. So there's no need to buy butter chicken and naan bread takeaway. Make it yourself. It's 10 times better. Thanks for watching, and if you liked that, please click subscribe because there's plenty more where that came from. Also, if there's a recipe that you actually want to see me make, chuck it in the comments below and we'll get round to it. Thanks for watching.